name is Dan Oki. I'm the owner and co-founder of Centsei, and I'm so excited today to be able to sit down with Jordan and Ashlyn Gardner. Jordan is a software engineer, and Ashlyn is a stay-at-home mom. They have 5 children, and over the course of the last 21 months, they've been able to do some incredible things, and I can't wait for you to hear their story. Give it a listen.
Welcome, Jordan and Ashlyn Gardner. So grateful to have you here, and so excited to talk about your Centsei experience. You guys have been able to accomplish some amazing things over the course of the last 24 months, approximately 21, give or take a few. And we're excited to dive in. So just paint a picture for us. What was money like before you joined the Centsei Personal Finance Accelerator program?
Go ahead.
Yeah, things for the most part seem to be going well throughout our marriage up to that point. So we have 5 kids now. I work as a software engineer, and Ash is a stay-at-home mom. And over that time, work seemed to be going really well between the jobs that I had and the raises that I was getting, and things were pretty comfortable. So for the first part of our marriage, we paid for our kids. We paid for, we eventually got ourselves into a home. That was about 8 years into our marriage is when we bought our first home. And we had 4 kids. We were pregnant with our 5th. And we're taking trips with friends each year, doing family vacations. All seemed good, but it finally caught up to us at a point where we kind of realized this isn't sustainable up to the point that it has been. And whether that's because we added kids or a big piece of it, I think, was just lifestyle creep, which is fairly common. So allowing ourselves to spend more without really realizing how is this affecting our future. And it came to a point where we had all of our kids, who the oldest was 10 and youngest 4 at the time, were all in different extracurricular activities. We had very busy schedules,
We had some student loans in the past.
Still had some student loans that need to be paid off. Our cars weren't all paid off. We had added a little bit of credit card debt through some vacations, and it came to a point where we just said, "Hey, this isn't working. Something needs to change."
And what are our true wants? What do we want our future to look like financially for our family?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So life's good. Things start, you have 5 kids, lifestyle starts creeping up as it often does. What, you notice things are not all of a sudden, hey, we got some credit card debt we never had before. We got some loans we got to pay off. What made you say, let's pay money to get out of, why not just buckle down harder? Why hire somebody to guide you through that process? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
I know we both kind of felt the urge and push to have someone help us be a mediator for us for our finances, because we just were both emotional about it for different reasons, and we had different opinions and different perspectives. Not that we fought about money all the time, but we wanted to be more in tune with each other and have that support each other, but it was hard. And so we thought we need a mediator to see us individually and help us come together, help us compromise. And at first you were really wanting to do it, and I was absolutely not. It took me a minute. I don't know if we sat on it for a month or even just a couple weeks. I don't remember, but it was a short period of time where I just was scared and not willing. And I think a part of it was because too, I knew that it was the right thing. I just felt it. I knew we wanted this, because we knew our goals. Our goals were shared. Just how to get there was not super shared yet. And I was just scared to take the leap. You were ready and so eager to get started, and I was just so scared, even though I knew and felt with all my being that it was the right thing to do. And we both felt really good about Centsei. I don't even remember how you found Centsei. On LinkedIn?
I'd been watching Dan post for a hot minute.
And you just knew that they were you felt something different with them than other financial coaches, other financial companies. And I think you shared it with me. We both read a couple things about it before we met with you. And
frankly, I just wanted somebody to agree with me and convince my wife she was wrong and I was right.
But really, we both, but then we both learned different things.
Yes.
Jokes aside, I was able to change some things and see where you're coming from. You were able to, change your thinking and perspectives and see through my lens. And
yeah, but the root of it was that, not jokingly, it was this, we're not doing it, and I think this is how we're going to do it. And so it was, I need somebody to come in and be able to say, this is how to do it. This is how you're going to succeed. And here's a plan to make it happen.
So is that what happened?
Not at first.
So tell me what. So you decided to do it. You've been following us on LinkedIn for a while. You're like, I'm going to hire these people. They're going to come in and agree with what I've been telling Ash. Ash is like, Ash gets over the finish line of like, fine, I'll work with the coach. Is very hesitant to do this at first. We have an initial conversation. Like, okay, we'll give this a shot. And so what happened? Did we just agree with everything, Jordan? I mean, what happened in the first 90 days? What happened that you were, that was good? What do you, reflect back to that? What happened? Maybe not in the way you expected. What did them?
I think initially things were great. We were talking about money more. We're going through the lessons that Centsei has prepared, and feeling like we're both improving.
I loved how, it was like continual conversation. I mean, we were continually talking about money before, but like this, I feel like pushed it the next step forward, and where I felt like, and it was true, I was not financially or educated with money whatsoever, but you love that stuff and totally were. So it wasn't new material for him, but it was totally new for me and just totally different mindset thinking. And so we were able to watch and study the videos together, or I'd watch them during the day, or we'd text each other, I saw this post and love this, or I'm like, I read this and I want to work on this. I love this. So we were able to continually talk and have that momentum. But
I think the stuff that was, while the base financial principles may not have been anything new, we talk about it a lot. The systems and processes defined by Centsei were a big help, where I think this is true in a lot of areas of adulthood, where we're just taught general ideas, but the application is often just buried in the details, or it's just not something that's often spoke about. So it's, you should be saving. What does that actually look like? And having a process that defines how, not just what a budget is, but here is your weekly plan. I think those were some really good pieces that, even though I knew all the financial basis, the process and system was lost on how we can work together better to achieve those goals. So those pieces were really good.
I want to say too, before you keep going, that that's one thing, one of the biggest things why I love Centsei is because sure, you can learn things through following financial Instagram pages, or Centsei on LinkedIn or Centsei on Instagram, but it's not until you sit down with a coach that you realize you guys literally help us step by step, for us, personalized individually for our circumstances, walk us through the steps, baby us through the process, and teach us along the way. And that's where growth happens. It's not just learning and reading slides and learning and reading posts. It's so much more hands-on and individualized, and I have loved that throughout the process.
So I think some of the struggles though early on were kind of the same point. Is okay, it's one thing to make a budget, it's another to say, how do we stick to this, and what does that actually look like in our week? And that, I think, was a challenge early on.
Well, and it took trial and error for months. We would adjust some budgets, and then we realized actually this needs to be up, but we could cut here. It was a learning process, I feel for both of us and our coach.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I heard you guys say is, one, financial conversations increased, and you were talking about money before, but it just all of a sudden it was more top of mind. And did it feel, I recall you saying it felt less shameful because there was a third party involved.
Yeah.
It wasn't as, not that you were fighting or arguing, but it wasn't actually.
No, there was some fighting and arguing.
Some tense moments for sure. But maybe we'll talk about this more, but that's why I loved having a coach and having Centsei, this program, what they believe in, and just how they recognize that emotions have a play in it. And I just felt yeah, our coach could see us individually and like could point out our strengths, because sometimes those got lost in the process. Like we would forget what we're already doing right, what we're good at, to remember that, to keep the momentum going, to work on our goals. But yeah, that was just so helpful that they recognize the emotions and the reality of the situation, but also helped us learn through compromise. So
yeah. So it just the third party there helped mediate some of those conversations in a way that they turned productive, rather than let's go through the same cycle we've been going through. And there was, as Jordan mentioned, there was an introduction of systems and tools of defined processes, not just save money or budget. Here's how to do that. And then, as you said, Ash, here's the step-by-step process.
yeah.
And so is that what you expected? Or was that kind of something were you expecting to have that kind of care? Or was it like, we'll see where this goes?
Yeah, I was yes and no. Like I was expecting obviously like individual help, but I guess I just didn't realize like how in depth it would be, and just how like personal, like it really took time and trial and error to figure out what was important to us, where we wanted to budge, where we didn't want to budge. I don't know.
Yeah, and for me, it's less about, so for her, appreciating the step by step and here's how you walk there and do it. For me, having just defined processes that take a lot of the grunt work. I was too involved with our finances, to the point that my focus, I'm distracted because I'm concerned about finances. I'm distracted because I think I need to do so much work each day around our tracking and everything and leading. So before that, there was too much time and energy spent on it, instead of have a system and a process that is going to work and address the need to make sure you have regular discussions, know when to highlight, and how you can discuss things that are coming up that maybe aren't part of your normal flow, when you can address unexpected spending that's come up, and having somebody define that process and then help implement that, all of a sudden shifted how we can now approach our finances without me wondering, well, when am I going to bring this up, because we got to talk about that, or
now it's built into our routine and it's natural, and yeah, after lots of practice and stuff.
You mentioned already, what you felt the value of a third party coach was, but what really was the impact of having a coach come in? Because even after 90 days, as you said, everything wasn't solved. This was a 21-month, 24-month process. So what impact did a coach play, in your opinion, over the process? But before you answer that question, and I skipped the question I wanted to ask you, where are you at now? So that was the first 90 days. Where are you at now? And let's talk about how you felt like a coach helped you get there.
Okay.
So now, after 21 months in the program, we are debt-free. We paid off $45,000 worth of total debt. Technically, within that 21-month period, we also paid off, when we started, we had a number of, family and vacation with some friends that we had already committed to.
But we were able to pay that off.
Right. So on top of that $45,000 of debt, we had some additional expenses that we had to take care of because we committed to them well before we knew we were doing Centsei. And we are currently working on our 3 to 6 month savings fund, which we should have 3 months completed in the next 2.5 months. So big turnaround in 21 months.
Yeah. So we're debt free. We have our emergency fund set aside. We have working on other savings account.
And we'll be out of phase one.
So
did you just share yourselves, guys? That's amazing. Congratulations. We did not know if that was going to happen at some points, did we?
Right.
We didn't know if that was going to be. We could not maybe have foreseen this day 90 days in, even.
Yeah. Well, and kind of really too, like I kind of like to think of it because it's like we started the program 21 months ago, but we really, was it 11 months ago, really decided to buckle down and paid off all that in 11 months, I think, right?
That was, I think, the biggest shift, is that September of 2024, things kind of came to a head. So we had been doing the lessons, we had been learning, but it was clear that we hadn't really
I still
made
wasn't
an all-in.
120% committed. So
we hadn't made an all-in decision. It was, sure, we're working on our finances.
sure, I'm learning things, like sure we're implementing things, but we really weren't like.
So
Yeah.
back to the question on how did having a coach help? It was first early on, it was just what I wanted and what she described, where I wanted somebody to tell her she was wrong. And I got some of that. I'm not going to lie. We got some of that to say, you know what? We've actually worked with enough households to say this budget item is pretty out of range for even for a large family of 7 and having 5 kids. And that for me was validating. It went a long ways to say, okay, how can we adjust this without me feeling like I'm just telling you what you're doing is wrong, but also recognizing that this is an area that clearly we need to adjust our behavior around if we're going to achieve our goals. And we had some of those things going for us, but ultimately having a coach who helped us recognize what do we want to do. And a big piece of it came from the Centsei lessons, which is we're living in a pit, and it's really easy to make that pit comfortable and to just say, you know what, let's just throw up some furniture and some lighting and we'll make this our home. And between, I think, the busyness of our schedules and realizing what our financial goals were and what financial commitment we had made for things like extracurriculars, we kind of just broke down one night and said,
We just felt so right about it together. Yeah. What do we want? What do we want to do? Yeah.
So what did you really want, and what did you really do about that 11-month mark?
We both, throughout the program and even throughout our marriage, like we both don't come from good financial backgrounds, so from our parents. And we just have always known since we've been together that like we don't want to mimic that. Like we want to be better for ourselves, and we want to be better for our kids. Like so we can be examples for our kids and do things for our future family and future selves. So I feel like that's a part of it.
It was and extracurriculars are a great example. We both love what that does for our kids. The confidence that they get, seeing them excel in their activities is huge as a parent. But doing some quick napkin math, you look at it and it's even as a 10-year-old trying to pay for a program is expensive. And I think a big piece of the conversation was
we just realized we're paying a lot for extracurriculars. Like if we pause that for a year, like this is how much money we could save by doing these other little things too, that would just fast track us. So we just realized
not
the
just
weight of that.
but we want this, and we know that it costs this much now, and it's hard for us to fit this in.
Imagine
how are we going to fit it in and our kids are close together in age? How are we going to fit it
teenagers
in when we have 5 teenagers? 3 or possibly, I guess 3 would be in high school at the same time, and 2 in middle school.
All our kids are 20 months apart and less. So
if we're struggling to make ends meet now. And so it was a conversation around, we want this for our family. So saying just because our kids are in extracurriculars now, how do we make sure that we can support this for them in the future?
We just realized, but like, 10, 11 months ago, we were just like, we just felt such a pull to like simplify our lives altogether, but having the focus be our financial goals. So just all around, like it just encompassed like our whole lives and like our values and what we really wanted. And we did it together as a family. So
you pulled all of your children out of extracurriculars for a year?
Yep.
Are you crazy? That takes guts, y'all.
It was so hard. Like sometimes I still get emotional about it, and like it might not be hard for everybody, but like that was freaking hard for me. Like so hard. It was hard for you, but like not as difficult.
Some of our background stuff is Ash just grew up. That's what she did from the time she was 8.
I mean, I didn't do a million extracurriculars at a time, but
but you did one extracurricular year round from the time you were 8 until you graduated high school and beyond. Yeah. So her experience was in order to excel, you've got to be all in on some of these activities to develop the skill set, to develop the experience, and to be no pun intended, a top performer.
Well, and to be honest, like you just kind of not that you feel pressure to, but that's just the norm these days. Or maybe it's just the norm in Utah. I don't know, but that's just the norm, is like you sign your kids up for stuff, you do stuff, and that's just the norm. You don't really talk about it. So it was really, really out of the ordinary for us to do that. And I did not want to reach out to all their coaches and directors and teachers and leaders and let them know, like, I was a little embarrassed when this is another thing that our coach and us together were like, why do I need to be embarrassed by this? Like, this isn't a bad thing. Like, this is actually so good because of X, Y, and Z. And even though it's really hard, like, it really changed my perspective. And we both decided to be brave and like talk about it, like talk about why, like with our friends, with our neighbors, with our coach, with our family, and just like be super bold and vulnerable about what we're doing and what our goals were. And like, we received so much support. Like, I still have family members and neighbors who are like, you inspired me. Like, I still get like emotional about it. Like, that is not normal. Like, and your kids are like, and maybe I'm biased, but our kids are so freaking cute and talented. So it was just so hard. Like, were the top of their class, like the top of their sports. Anyway, so that was really hard to pull them out. But
we're skipping the hardest part, which is how do you sit down and tell your kids, hey, we've made decisions.
Here's what we're doing.
That are affecting you. And that, frankly, was the piece that I can't say in execution, because we did it and whatever, but the thought of having to tell your kids, hey, we've made decisions that are now affecting you negatively. And as part of that, we're going to take a break is hard.
Younger it's hard to kids, explain that to them.
Younger kids are okay, but the older ones, that's hard. And they continue to see their friends in activities. And how do you tell them, look, this is something that we're asking you to do, that we involved you in. You don't. But
it's going to be better, even though it's hard for them to understand. Like, you're going to be back. We're going to be better than before, but we freaking did it. Feels so good.
And watching the kids, the oldest specifically,
go back,
who has been able to share with people, like, that was hard for me to not be in things, but I know I was helping out my family.
Wow.
Was a big deal to hear her express and be willing to participate in that together.
You've heard her say that?
Yes.
Don't make me cry, guys.
Like, that's huge. I'm like, I know she'll remember it like for forever.
Sorry, I didn't know that. I didn't know that part. It matters.
Why every time we talk about this, I cry?
This is hard. These are hard decisions.
I know it's over, but it was so hard. Yeah.
It is hard. It is, and you did it, and you had to do it together. But as you said, what would have happened 3 years from now had you not? And the lesson she now remembers is mom and dad did the right thing, even though it was hard for everybody. And she now did something that was hard. That built her character in other ways.
Yeah, totally.
Even though it is hard. And so what I'm hearing you say is, we did some things that we never thought we may ever do. And it was really hard. And it still is hard, even when we think about it.
Yeah.
But it's over and it's done. And we don't ever have to, unless crazy things happen, we're not going to have to make that decision again for the same reasons.
Yep.
Feels amazing. Oh my gosh.
This is kind of tail end. We're nearing, it's November now, so we're nearing Christmas time. And even this, just talking about the systems and where we're at now, how things have shifted is, 21 months, especially the last 12 months, was just strict. Like, no, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. And again,
no
personality
now, so
wise,
we can say yes later.
Again, personality wise, I'm really good at that. I'm really good at saying no.
I am not.
And it was challenging, but then we just sat down, I think 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah,
2 weeks before, 2 weeks ago, and it was like, hey, it's the end of October.
Christmas is coming.
What's our plan? And because of the systems that we've got in place,
number one, already knew our plan.
We knew the plan. We had money set aside, and really all it was this year was, what adjustments are we making? And we've freed up income to make sure that we can support that. So the stress of it, of just how do we pay for this, is absolutely gone. The stress of me wondering what on earth is Christmas going to entail this year, and I can't wait to see what pops up on my credit card statement, after the fact, gone. And this year is literally, oh, let's include these 1 or 2 things that we said no to last year that we wanted to do this year.
Yeah. And we can just fit everything in.
And
We're
we just
both
do it back
excited
in.
on it. We're both on the same page, like because of the systems and because of like where we're at, almost out of phase 1 now too. So fun. It's so fun. It's the best feeling ever.
I love it. A few last questions here. We can keep you here all day. I love hearing that Christmas is covered. You get to enjoy it. That's what this is all about. That's what money's about.
Yeah.
What has been each of yours favorite systems or tools that we've implemented? Or the most, just your favorite.
For me, the defined weekly process of so the weekly financial check-in is what we call it. Again, there's nothing in this process or the steps that was groundbreaking that I read and thought, oh my goodness, this is the one magic piece that was missing from our plan. But having somebody just come and say, this is where the rubber meets the road. If you will do this weekly, you talk about the things that matter, you plan to cover the things that maybe come up unexpectedly, but really they're not, because every week you say, what's coming up in the next 3 weeks and what's coming up in the next other way around, the next 4 weeks and the next 3 months, and you address those. I think that was the biggest piece of our process that was missing, is that we would have conversations about money, but it was always arbitrary around, well, what's up this week that we need to talk about, instead of, here is your checklist. Every week, do these 5 things, and everything is basically taken care of. And now emergencies are actually just that, emergencies, and not just we failed to plan for these types of things.
Yeah. I've already mentioned this and I'll tie it into something else, but I just loved how like personal and emotional it was, and that like the coaches recognized that, and that they really are I wasn't expecting to like they just become like, you become close friends and they're rooting for you and we're rooting for them, and like it's just like the best support system. And I feel like I want everybody to experience that. Like everyone needs this so bad, no matter where you're at, no matter what phase you're in. I just feel like it's so beneficial, and something I knew already that I was like scared of, but it's like, to make a change, like you have to sacrifice. Like to make a change, you have to make a change. Like, and that's hard, but it's so worth it. I don't know what I was gonna say.
Having somebody to cheer you on and be your champion is important. Is an important piece of the system.
Yeah, absolutely. Critical. What, I think you've already answered my next question was going to be, was it worth it? I think you've answered that. How has your long-term, now where you're at, where are you looking? Think about where you were looking towards in the future 2 years ago, 21 months ago. Now, as you look towards the future, what are you thinking? How are your thoughts different than they were 21 months ago? What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? What does the future look like now that you've done this?
We are, I think, a relatively young family. So we're early to mid 30s, and we have 5 kids, ages 11 down to 5 now. So in 10 years, we have a 15-year-old to a 21-year-old. We're mid 40s. And for all the trouble it is for having kids that are so close together in age, that love to fight and and it's frankly hard to balance the emotions of kids who are all so close together. I'm thrilled because all of a sudden our thinking has shifted from, how are we paying for our trip this year, to we're going to be set up to do some really exciting family stuff in 10 years. And not to get too far ahead, but 5 years after that, when they're all out of the house and we're young 50-year-olds, I think we're going to be hooping it up quite a bit.
Ashlyn, anything you'd add to that? Yeah,
it's just like our goals change. Like it's just like our goals for so long were like, we have to pay this off, then we can snowball and pay this off. Like that's what it felt like for so long. But now, like even the past few weeks when we sat down, like our goals are We could start looking at like bigger lots to build a different home when we thought we'd just be stuck here for years and years and years. Or we could stay here because we love our neighborhood and we could make updates and changes to our home, and we'd have cash to do that, and like it wouldn't feel burdensome. We can travel with our family. We can travel together. Like we have money. Yeah, we just have a savings account, which is so comforting to have a savings account for 7 people. So yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting goals instead of like dreadful goals, like
we're
checklist
dreaming
goals.
more than just what has to get taken care of.
Yep.
I think that's a nice punctuation mark. Last question. To anybody who is in your situation 24 months ago, that they're like, why would I pay money to go through a Centsei program for 24 freaking months? What would you tell them? What would you tell yourself 24 months ago when you were debating this process or having doubts? What would you tell them?
Do it sooner.
My only regret is we didn't do it sooner. Yeah, I like that phrase.
It may seem counterintuitive to pay money to save money. What you get out, it's so much more than that. You're paying for obviously the educational materials. You're paying to show that you are committed to the goal. You're paying for the support of a coach who's going to cheer and help make sure that when both of you, there's so many times we would come in for our coaching meeting and both of us are just feeling like, are we even doing anything? Is this even working? And it literally took our coach highlighting, here's what you did in the last 4 weeks. That's crazy for us to be like, oh yeah, we're actually succeeding at this and doing good. So there's so much benefit from what is a relatively small investment month to month for the output. And it's 100% worth every dollar.
Ashlyn, anything else you'd add?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the things like that I've learned in Centsei, like some of them not new, some of them new, like are tools that you can not only use like in your finances, but like through the rest of your life. Like, and I love that and will always be forever grateful for that. Just learning to sacrifice and to work hard and to have grit and to like have a better outcome, like is so great.
Learn how to develop systems.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's so great.
Jordan and Ashlyn, you guys are awesome. Congratulations on all your success. There's more greatness to come as we fulfill the next dreams, because you don't have to think about debt anymore.
Yeah.
And soon that 3 to 6 months savings is going to be done, and now it's on to building the life that you want. And step by step, never all comes at once, but we're going to get there. Thank you guys for giving Centsei a chance. I'm so glad you did, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do next.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much.